SCP-7002. SCP-7002's wish must not be granted. Personnel found to be working for the benefit of SCP-7002 are considered complicit in the ongoing ETA class event and are to be confined to quarters until Project Ricochet is completed. SCP-7002-1 has made SCP-7002's approach common knowledge among the general public. No effort is to be expended attempting to conceal it. Instead, main containment efforts are to be focused on diverting the anomaly before it reaches perihelion. Foundation-sponsored comestible supply lines have been established on every continent. Each line currently carries sufficient lab-synthesized food to feed 350 million people at least every 3 days. Victims of SCP-7002-1 compulsion may require force-feeding. Consult document 7002.2 for guidance on the best practices. SCP-7002 designates comet C-2022-I1, an interstellar road comet believed to have entered the solar system on January 3rd. SCP-7002 will reach perihelion on 29th December 2022 and make its closest approach to our world on December 9th. If left unchecked, the object will draw within 2.1 linear distance, the closest approach by a near-Earth object in recorded history. Prevent this approach is the primary objective of Project Ricochet. Through an unknown mechanism, an increasing portion of the planet Earth has become subject to desertification as SCP-7002 approaches. An estimated 48% of the planet's fertile soil has been converted to arid desert. Researchers estimate full conversion will occur during or shortly after SCP-7002's December 9th approach. Other effects include crop blight, spontaneous combustion and desiccation of crops, acidification and salinization of fertile soil, intercontinental dust and firestorms impacting major population centers, and the gradual collapse of Earth's magnetosphere. These effects have worsened as SCP-7002 nears our planet. Petrographic analysis has shown that SCP-7002 possesses a hitherto unseen composition for a comet of its kind. The molar ratio of carbon to water in C-2022-I1's tail is 95 to 105%, in stark contrast to the average 4 to 105% for solar system comets. Furthermore, while the object appears depleted in diatomic carbon, it is enriched in refined materials such as iodized copper and silicate, compounds not typically associated in interstellar objects. Finally, imaging suggests that majority of SCP-7002's interior is hollow. These factors have led researchers to speculate that the object may be at least partially artificial in origin. SCP-7002-1 refers to the recurring dream experienced by an increasing portion of the human population since SCP-7002 entered our solar system. SCP-7002 is a Class II cognitohazard. Cognitive resistance value directly correlates with the likelihood of experiencing a dream pattern. Currently, a CRV of 11 or higher is needed to resist SCP-7002-1 manifestation, up from a CRV of 2 in early January. SCP-7002-1's pattern consists of several associated images and ideas. A verdant green planet of unknown position and origin, SCP-7002 itself typically floating or flying through space, an ambiguous desire or need possessed by the comet and/or the unknown planet. This desire is often described as victims by a wish, which must be granted. The Sun and Earth from SCP-7002's current location, and channels of luminous matter of energy flowing from the Earth and the unknown planet. Repeated exposure to SCP-7002-1 produces conviction that SCP-7002 is a benevolent force, and appears to compel victims to work to fulfill the wish expressed in their dreams. Amnestics provide only temporary relief, as subsequent experiences for SCP-7002-1 simply reintroduce these topics. Those compelled by SCP-7002-1 typically seek to grow and produce crops, particularly grains, vegetables, or other common foodstuffs, using any resource at their disposal. Victims do not consume these products themselves, but instead abandon their fields before harvest, beginning the planting process again at a new location. Victims forcibly resist attempts to stop them from working or to harvest their crops, and often work without regard for their own health and needs. Death by exhaustion and starvation is a common outcome of advanced SCP-7002-1 affliction. The following description of SCP-7002-1 was produced by the maths researcher Grant Willis on January 6, 2022. Like most of humanity, Willis had experienced SCP-7002-1 for 3 nights prior to composing this account. However, unlike nearly all other Foundation employees, Willis did not possess a CRV sufficient to resist its effects. 3 days ago, I had a dream. The next night I had it again, and again the third night. Please, God, may I continue to have it. In the dream there is a comet, but it is more than this. It is a celestial fireball beyond words, burning in the depths of space. It is gargantuan, grotesque, and beautiful. It is the most wonderful thing I have ever seen. The comet has traveled far. It must travel further still. I sense its struggle. It burns without end. On through the void eternal. What does it seek? I can feel that there is something, a great need unfulfilled, purpose beyond my comprehension. I yearn to help it, but I know not what I can do. I am distraught, for I exist to work for the comet and for its creators. Its creators, I can see their world, so far away, so much brighter and better than my own. They who have made something so beautiful and sent it to us, they are entitled to all that I have. Perhaps this is what I can do, yes? They are entitled to the sweat and brow into my body and my blood, to all I have produced and can ever produce. I give it to them freely and without regret. They smile upon me. This must mean that I am right. I can see my energy, the spirit of my world, flowing to them. I have not toiled in vain, for they will benefit from that which I make. I have granted their wish. This thought gives me peace. It does not sate my desire, for I have a wish also. I wish to burn as it does, to burn with the comet and to give myself until there is no more. It belongs to me surely as I belong to it. I am what it deserves, and I will burn with it. It is mine. It is mine, and I am theirs. It is coming for me. Addendum 1. Environmental Impacts. SCP-7002 is a Class 11 thaumaturgic and biohazard. How SCP-7002 produces these adverse effects as well as their intended purpose, if one exists, is unknown. However, each effect ranks directly with the comet's approach to our planet. 1. Blight. SCP-7002 causes rapid withering of crops, especially those near harvest. Crops appear to desiccatate spontaneously over a period of 3 to 7 days, though the effect has been observed to occur in as little as 90 minutes. High-yielding nutritional crops, including soy and corn, are most affected. In the first month after entering the solar system, SCP-7002 blighted a total of 20 million metric tons of agricultural product. This number has steadily increased each month. In July, the object blighted an estimated 250 million cubic tons, approximately 71% of the total output of the planet's farms combined. Wheat farmer Muyan Zhao described the visible impact of SCP-7002 on his crops to Foundation researchers on May 20th, 2022. We woke up yesterday morning to a rustling sound, like sticks in the high wind. We couldn't figure out what it was until we looked at the fields. There we saw every plant standing on end like it was tied up with a string. These stalks were dancing around and shaking, bumping into each other. A sound they made was bizarre. Twigs clattering around in a cart, maybe, is a way to imagine it. And then there was the steam. Every plant was letting mist off like a hot kettle. Not burning, mind, just drying up. All their water was gone by the end of the day. First the wheat turned yellow, then brown, then gray, then black. It's all gone dusty now. My boy picked some up and hasn't been able to get off his hand in 3 days of scrubbing. Crops produced under SCP-7002-1 compulsion experience blight and withering at a greatly increased rate. 2. Nutrient depletion. SCP-7002 renders previously fertile soil unusable. Land is depleted of all vital components including potassium, phosphorus, and zinc, as well as binding agents, rendering the soil into a dusty, granular chunks which break apart upon contact. Salinization has been recorded more rarely, and acidification in at least one case. The soil is rendered infertile on an exponential cycle as SCP-7002 nears Earth. The progression to date has been the object moved from parching 14,000 acres of land in January to nearly 206 million acres in July alone. SCP-7002 impacted soil should not be handled with bare hands. 3. Drought. 70% of Earth's surface is currently experiencing extreme drought due to the SCP-7002. The comet appears to disrupt rainfall and weather patterns, depriving the soil of moisture on a continental scale. Drought prevents desertified soil from recovering and drastically increases the risk of fire and dust storms. Major population centers in 96 nations have been under storm watch for at least 6 weeks, while an estimated 988 million acres of forest have been burned to date. Number 4. Disruption of magnetosphere. SCP-7002 has weakened the Earth's magnetic field by a factor of 3. The relationship of this effect to the comet's other impacts is unknown. Disruption of the magnetosphere significantly impacts the planet's ability to resist solar radiation and other disruptive phenomena, imperiling global technology and satellite systems. These factors have led the Foundation to coordinate its response entirely using ground-based communication systems, slowing response by 17%. Though SCP-7002 affects many aspects of day-to-day human life, mass starvation is the Foundation's primary concern. Approximately 2.5 billion people now experience food scarcity due to the anomaly, and many more refuse to feed themselves because of ongoing SCP-7002-1 compulsion. Addendum 2. Project Ricochet. Project Ricochet is a joint Foundation GOC effort to deflect SCP-7002 from its current course prior to December 9th near-Earth approach. Should the project achieve success, it may preserve as much as 33% of the planet's fertile soil from desertification, enabling the continued survival of the human race. The project has 2 main arms. Primary arm, deploy a team of agents directly to SCP-7002 to implant experimental technology. A manned mission to reach SCP-7002 will allow placement of prototype matter displacement systems on the object's surface. Such systems will direct SCP-7002 away from Earth into a collision course with the Sun, dispatching of the threat. These systems require delicate handling and may not easily be deployed remotely. Secondary arm, prepare backup countermeasures should manned mission fail. Should placement or operation of the MDS fail, emergency measures have been prepared to destroy the comet prior to its closest approach. These measures may include heavy weapons barrage from second-generation high-energy railgun systems developed for deployment beyond Earth. High-energy concentration in planetary railgun. Project Ricochet is approved. Joint Task Force will begin operations on October 2022 from Foundation Site 02. Addendum 3. Project Ricochet Timeline. October 1st, 2022. Task Force begins preparations for Project Ricochet. SCP-7002 current distance is 674 million kilometers. 38% of fertile soil on the planet has been converted by the object. October 7th. SCP-1396-1 appears to track SCP-7002 as it moves near Jupiter. Its weapons briefly come online, and then depower, takes no further action. October 18, 2022. Dust storms cause significant damage to the Southern Australian infrastructure. Multiple Foundation sites lose contact. October 23rd. MDS system and launch vehicle near completion. And currently, HECIR begins relocation to L4 Lagrange Point to intercept SCP-7002 should primary arm fail. 51% of fertile soil on the planet has been converted by the object. October 26th. MDS and launch point vehicle complete. Widespread acidification of crops in the Indian subcontinent due in part to overfarming by victims of SCP-7002-1. Mass starvation expected within 8 weeks. SCP-7002 distance is 605 million kilometers. November 1st at 5 o'clock. Project Ricochet primary team launches towards SCP-7002 aboard GOC Olympus launch vehicle. Expected transit time using subliminal warp is 16 hours. Though activation of MDS systems should take little time, the team is prepared with supplies sufficient to last 6 weeks and equipped with advanced telepathic shielding. November 1st. Primary team drops out of warp near surface of object. Despite shielding, team reports immediate nausea and lethargy, but advises they can proceed as planned. Primary team touchdown on surface of SCP-7002. 16% human population experienced a sudden loss of consciousness. Heavy distortion in communications channels. Primary team transit photographs of SCP-7002 surface. Photos indicate multiple advanced devices on a colossal scale. Purpose of same remains unclear. Team advised to proceed with caution. Acid rainfall reported over 71% North America. Magnetic field distortions. Unconscious portion of human population enters spontaneous REM sleep. Primary team advises that MDS units have been placed and powered on. Activation timer set for 5 minutes. Team proceeds towards evacuation vehicle. Primary team reports loss of 2 members, including team lead. Heavy distortion prevents team from communicating the cause. Communication with primary team is lost. Inbuilt monitors indicate MDS systems have been manually disabled. Site-02 unable to re-establish contact with team. Single continuous transmission was received by the primary team. Heavily cardiohazardous messages consists of words. It's repeated 1,136 times. Radio channels are closed after 6 hours. Project Ricochet primary armed card failed November 2nd. SCP-7002 distance is 550 million kilometers. 54% of fertile soil on the planet has been diverted by the object. November 2nd. Individuals rendered unconscious during November 1st incident wake. Each reports experiencing the modified version of SCP-7002-1 in addition to previous images. Those affected also witnessed Project Ricochet primary armed team launched an approach. Affected individuals explicitly identified the team and the Foundation as hostile. November 3rd. Modified SCP-7002-1 replaces the original for all people when they next fall asleep. High-level BK class broken asteroid scenario declared. November 18th. HECIR unit reaches L4 Lagrange point. SCP-7002 distance is approximately 363 million kilometers. November 19th. Wildfire breaks out 6 kilometers south of Site-02 in the forest. Cause unknown. November 21st. SCP-7002-1 increases in strength. All individuals with a CRV below 20 now experience cognitohazardous effects, including some 2/3 of Foundation staff. SCP-7002 distance is 254 million kilometers. November 25th. 60% of fertile soil on the planet has been diverted by the object. November 27th. Following the BK class event, attacks following the BK class event render Foundation's civilian supply lines useless. Alternative measures thought to transport food. Mass starvation events are common in most population centers. November 29th. SCP-7002 reaches perihelion. Distance to Earth is 136 million kilometers. Object is now within 1 million kilometers of HECIR's effective range. November 29th. Further modifications of SCP-7002-1's. Dreams now transmit awareness of HECIR, as well as the exact location of Foundation Site-02. SCP-7002 enters HECIR effective range. Project Ricochet secondary arm is go. Test and coordinates transmitted. Power outage at multiple sites, including Site-02. Numerous figures sighted in forest rapidly approaching site. Emergency power online. HECIR begins calibration for firing. Site-02 automated defenses trigger an estimated 17,000 individuals emerge from the forest boundary. HECIR calibration is at 50%. 4,000 individuals successfully reach Site-02 perimeter wall. HECIR calibration at 98%. HECIR fires. The volley misses SCP-7002. Investigation confirms incorrect coordinates were sent by Project Ricochet Central Command. Project Ricochet Central Command transmits message to all Foundation sites within range. Assailants breach Site-02's perimeter. HECIR fails to begin recalibration. Site-02 is declared lost. Project Ricochet secondary arm declared failed as of November 29th. Alternatives under consideration. SCP-7002 distance is 133 million kilometers. November 30th. Most remaining Foundation sites overtaken by attacks. GOC and other allied groups of interest currently unresponsive or hostile. December 3rd. 70% of fertile soil on the planet has been diverted by the object. December 5th. SCP-7002-1 increases in strength. All individuals of CRV below 50 now experience tornado hazardous effects, including 98% of remaining Foundation staff. SCP-7002 distance is 49 million kilometers. December 8th. Satellite imaging suggests all nearby remaining landmasses have been co-opted for use as farmland by victims of SCP-7002-1 compulsion. Continental scale dust storms complicate further imaging past this point. December 8th. Foundation Site 01 overtaken by attacks. SCP-7002 distance is now 8 million kilometers. December 9th. Earth's magnetic field depleted to 1/100th of original strength. Solar radiation disables global communications and positioning systems. SCP-7002's distance is 3 million kilometers. December 9th. Entirety of human population believed to be under SCP-7002-1 compulsion. Automated tracking systems engaged. At 10 o'clock, SCP-7002 distance is 950,000 kilometers. 11. SCP-7002 distance is 900,000 kilometers. 12. SCP-7002 distance is 850,000 kilometers. 1. SCP-7002 distance is 800,000 kilometers. 2. SCP-7002 distance is 750,000 kilometers. 3. SCP-7002 distance is 700,000 kilometers. Closest approach distance is in 2 hours. At 4. SCP-7002 distance is 650,000 kilometers. Closest approach in 1 hour. At 4:31, 2 members of Project Ricochet primary team suspected killed in action during initial landscape attempt. Re-established radio contact. Attempts to hail Site 02 are met with automated response. SCP-7002 closest approach distance in 29 minutes. At 4:38, monitoring indicates MDS units placed by primary team have been reactivated. At 4:46, return vehicle launch detected on SCP-7002 surface. At 4:48, MDS systems are placed by Project Ricochet. Ricochet primary team activate. SCP-7002 is displaced on collision course. At 4:49, it is confirmed neutralized in direct collision with the Sun. December 9th, 2022. First rainfall in 16 weeks recorded on planet Earth. Addendum 4. Primary Team Debriefing. Project Ricochet primary launch team members Alpha and Bravo returned to Earth on December 9, 2022, after surviving on the surface of SCP-7002 for 39 days. After a 2-week quarantine, the pair was debriefed. They indicated that team members Charlie and Delta, presumably under telepathic compulsion, had attacked them shortly after they placed the MDS units. Alpha and Bravo had survived by finding a tunnel and hiding from Charlie and Delta. Charlie and Delta on the surface had begun making something akin to a farm. They had used their hands to convert the comet's exterior into neat roads, which they had dropped pebbles into. They must have been doing this for weeks, as their bodies had begun deteriorating from the effect of doing this for so long. Alpha and Bravo were able to easily overpower them after this stage, and get to inactivate the MDS modules and return back to Earth. Addendum 5. Nature of SCP-7002. Both analysis of prior imaging and the photographs collected by Project Ricochet's primary team suggest that SCP-7002 was created by an intelligent, non-human race for the purpose of resource gathering. Key evidence include radiographic sonar, object hollow beyond depth 75 meters, spectrography. Object was composed largely of synthesized metallic materials beneath a thin rocky crust. Photographs. Object possessed multiple gigaton scale energy collection storage systems of unknown making purpose. Equipment bore similarity to SCP, suggesting capacity to remotely harvest chemical potential energy. Photographs. Object house components for long-distance travel and communication with unknown extrasolar entities. Foundation exophysicists speculate that SCP-7002 was initially directed towards a developed planet, and that its tornado hazard were intended to both prevent obstruction of its goals and to compel its victims to produce additional harvest. Further research is ongoing. SCP-7002 desertified 75% of Earth's surface before neutralization. However, with the effects of the comet now absent, researchers believe that the majority of this to all be restored to fertility within 15 to 20 years. Furthermore, the conversion of much of Earth's remaining soil to farmland by victims of SCP-7002-1 has an unexpected benefit. Food scarcity in the wake of the event has decreased substantially, as a greater number of territories now rely on locally produced resources. Addendum 6, SCP-7002-1's final transmission. On December 31, 2022, most of Earth's remaining population experienced additional instances of SCP-7002-1. As SCP-7002-1 had been neutralized several weeks prior, the origin of this dream is unknown. 7002-1, December 31, 2022 description. Dream depicts a verdant green planet in the distance. Ahead of it, traveling away into space, is a group of at least 200 comets. Upon waking, all those who experience the dream recall hearing the phrase, "grant our wish," spoken in their native language.